All right, we're learning some brand new details about 6 deaths in the Portland area, which have sparked fears of a possible serial killer on the loose. Police in the area have insisted that is not the case, though, saying as recently as earlier this week that the cases are not connected. We told you about this earlier this week. However, new reporting from newspaper The Oregonian finds at least some type of connection between at least 3 of the victims. Some of the women even visited the same places in the months before their deaths. That's according to this new reporting. So joining us now, we bring back Dr. Debbie Goodman, a nationally recognized criminologist, a professor. She knows her stuff. Dr. Goodman, so great to speak with you again. I just spoke to you about this on Monday. So there's now this new information about 3 of the victims in the same area. It shrinks this radius from about 100 miles down to essentially 0. How significant is that?
Yes, good afternoon, Nichole. Always a pleasure to join you for the conversation. And this, for me, as a criminologist, is very significant. So when we last spoke, we knew of 6 female decedents within the 100-mile radius, but this new information really is huge. Why? Because this is what we would now move in the direction, again, not with 100% certainty, but I think a higher level of probability of this being the work of a serial killer. And here's why. Because if there's any type of thread, that becomes the tipping point. So we already know that the typology, if you will, or the victimology, as we say, we have the gender that is all similar, the 6 female decedents. But if they frequented a location, then as we speak, we will have a very police presence at these locations to query employees, to scour any type of credit and debit card transactions. And for me, 3 out of 6 really is huge. And I think that this potentially is now moving more so in the direction of the work of a serial killer.
Right. I know that's something you had predicted or you had said earlier this week. I don't know if we can bring back that graphic of the pictures of the victims there. Because another thing that we see in common, they all appear to be at least in the same age range. I don't know if we can get the one of the 6 victims, because all 6 of them, and again, we only know right now this connection with 3 of them, but with some of them visiting the same places, shortly before their deaths. Are police being careful about their words, potentially so they don't cause a panic?
Yes, I think that is absolutely correct. And our local, state, and federal law enforcement officers and agents, I have the utmost confidence. And as we spoke last, the semantics on a lot of this will be important. So certainly our law enforcement officials do not want to create the panic, the fear, the anxiety unnecessarily so. However, as we proceed with this and hour by hour, as we know, as new information comes forward, then I think it would be important, certainly for me as a criminologist, to really recommend that our citizens, particularly in the states and the city, just operate a little more, let's say, on high alert, meaning see something, say something. And if something just simply, Nichole, doesn't look right, sound right, feel right to a citizen, that should be a prompt to make the call to police. That's why we have our law enforcement officials. And the day-to-day hope, of course, for all citizens is safety, security, and survival. So we would never want that to be compromised. And again, the recommendation for citizens who may know anything at all to please call police with any tips.
And I know when I spoke with you earlier this week, you said, it seemed very likely that this could be the work of a serial killer. Dr. Goodman, we still don't know the cause of deaths for the victims. It hasn't been released. If there are different reasons for their deaths, if there are different causes, would that make it less likely to be the work of a serial killer?
Well, it depends, Nichole. It's not uncommon. First, we'd like to think that the way in which these murderers operate are aligned in totality. If so, if now, again, the majority of the decedents have died in a certain way, I believe it has been verified that one of whom misspeaks died of blunt force trauma to the head and neck. Now, if we start to, our investigators reveal that there is similarity, then again, we're moving in a higher level of direction for a serial killer. However, I will tell you also, sometimes they will change their methodology, particularly when they know that now law enforcement officials, that they're in the spotlight, and they too, these killers, do follow media and journalism reports because they enjoy that.
Yeah. So we will see. Dr. Goodman, always enjoy talking to you. You certainly are an expert in your field. If we get more information, we're going to bring you back. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.